Welcome back. Prime Minister Alain Chastanet and leader of the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party, Philip J. Pierre, have come together to endorse an initiative that would see a holistic approach to tackling the COVID-19 pandemic in St. Lucia. However, the endorsement also came with some subtle exchange of power jeté. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more.
I want to thank you very much. I want to pledge the support of my party to this initiative. And we hope that as we build that capacity, there is equity and there is fairness in the distribution of these benefits that may accrue.
I want to applaud the initiative and pledge the support not only of the United Workers' Party, but also pledge the support of the government of St. Lucia on this initiative. And I'm hoping that this will continue, because the COVID issue is just one singular issue that requires a unity of purpose, a unity of voice, of things in which we must find ourselves in the future, not undermining in the name of politics, of one-upmanship.
These were the main words that the nation needed to hear as the island's Prime Minister Alain Chastanet and the leader of the opposition Philip J. Pierre came together to endorse an initiative that would bring a holistic fight against COVID-19. This collaboration was made during the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding at the launch of the Recover St. Lucia initiative on Friday morning. It was noted and even highlighted by Pierre that such collaborations were rare. However, whilst the occasion was meant to highlight unity between the two leaders who both expressed wishes that politics would be left out of the initiative, a meeting of this sort would not be complete without the two throwing subtle jabs at each other.
So in certain situations, we need to be able to have the maturity to forget the fact that we have won, to forget the fact that we are in government, and reach out and understand that there are people who we have to bring into the circle for the benefit of the country. And that is why I am here today. Everyone should get an equal opportunity to share in the benefits of that initiative. I would hate to think that some people believe that because of the perceived political color or the political beliefs that they will be ostracized. So I hope that because this initiative is not driven by politicians, that the people who are driving it ensure that there is equity. That is, it is truly a nation-building situation because of the crisis that we find ourselves in.
Pierre called on all St. Lucia Labour Party supporters to give their full support to the initiative and to continue to adhere to the protocols set by the powers that be. Meanwhile, the PM spoke after the leader of the opposition and had this to say in response.
COVID is hopefully going to teach us a very important lesson, because we have no choice but to come together as a nation. COVID, Mr. Leader of the Opposition, has made it very clear that there is no bias. It's impartial. It attacks everybody. Everybody is vulnerable. Doesn't matter which political party you support, doesn't matter which ideology that you believe in, doesn't matter if you are rich, poor, white, black, Indian, it doesn't matter. But there are some issues in this country which I believe that we need to have a common voice on. So that's why I'm very excited today, because I'm really hoping that we can start finding a mechanism, as Philip says, to overcome the distrust and work together on key national issues to resolve, because the rest of the world is looking at us in terms of how we deal with this. We are the ones who are undermining our own credibility by some of the things we say and some of the things that we do.
Both leaders did agree, however, that no one is immune to COVID-19, and so St. Lucians, one and all, should work together to end the scourge. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Now, it must be noted that the exchanges took place moments after Dr. Stephen King and Dr. Adrian Auger called for peaceful and mature collaboration from the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition. But, like explained in that Rochelle Gonzalez report, there was a subtle exchange of jabs. However, the former Chief Medical Officer, Dr. King, says he is proud that the two were able to put their differences aside to collaborate in the fight against COVID-19.
One of the island's former chief medical officers has applauded the island's leaders for putting their political and personal differences aside to come together in a collaborative effort to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. This collaboration was made on Friday morning when Leader of the Opposition Philip J. Pierre as well as Prime Minister Alan Chastanet signed a memorandum of understanding at the launch of the Recover St. Lucia initiative at the Financial Center. Shortly before the signing, an appeal was made by Dr. Stephen King, as well as Independent Senator Dr. Adrian Auger, for the two leaders to make peace for the sake of the country and to give their full attention to the initiative at hand. Although the two could not help but take subtle jabs at each other, they both endorsed the project and agreed to work together so that St. Lucia could be rid of the coronavirus sooner rather than later. Dr. King said despite the words thrown, he applauded their final decision.
Actually, I want to compliment both leaders because I think it took a lot of courage to step up, and you know it's going to take a while. I think for the gel to happen between both leaders. But I mean, I'm really hopeful that we can do it, and the reason I'm hopeful is one that they came here today and they did, and both of them endorsed. Regardless of other things that may have been said, but I think that's what's really important. And we have the MOU with them from the business community, with each of them, that we intend to actually hold them to that as well. But I think more importantly, I think they both realize that COVID-19 is a national crisis, it's an existential threat, and that really none of us in St. Lucia have a choice. Divisions must be put aside.
Dr. King said he hopes that the pandemic will inspire a sense of maturity between the island's leaders.
I think COVID-19 gives us an opportunity, doesn't it? It's you see, COVID-19 is interesting because, you know, it's on one hand, it's obviously it's a deadly and, as I said, an existential threat to all of us, our lives and our livelihoods. However, it's an opportunity for us to rise up and be better. And when both of our political leaders can actually come together and endorse and say that they work together to deal with COVID-19, that is us getting better. And I think, so there's an opportunity there, and I hope that supporters and all the rest of us who are divided in this country on all matters, I hope we can at least come together on this matter and realize that we must work as a single people with a single purpose of securing lives and livelihoods and eliminating this COVID-19.
Dr. King said it takes courage for the two leaders to stand together, and this is a sign of true leadership. He said he fully intends to hold them to the promise of unity made on Friday morning. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The Fisheries Department on Friday saw a number of fishermen trying to get their documents in order to ensure they are eligible for the $500 grant that will be issued by the government of St. Lucia. The chief fisheries officer told Hot 7 TV News that fishermen have been coming in droves, but says it serves a dual purpose as the fisheries can update its system. Genevieve Gonzague reports.
While some fishermen have begun receiving the grants that have been issued by the government of St. Lucia, others are scurrying to ensure that all their documents are in order to receive their monies. On Friday, many fishermen were seen waiting outside the Department of Fisheries for an extended period of time. Chief Fisheries Officer Sarita Williams-Peter explained that many fishermen were simply here to collect or renew their fishermen IDs in order to receive the monies they have been rewarded.
Fishers are coming to get, some of them have to get the ID cards renewed. Some of them have to get their ID cards, so they would have been registered in our system and would have been deemed eligible based on the eligibility criteria, but they wouldn't have come to get the ID card. So this is an opportunity now where fishers are ensuring that they come and get the ID cards, which helps them when they go out to sea to ensure that they have a form of identification if they find themselves in other territory, waters, if they find themselves needing to identify to any type of official or authorities out at sea.
One fisherman waiting on the outside spoke with Hot 7 TV. Dave Florius explained that he understands the benefits of having an updated fisherman ID, and despite the long line, he would simply wait it out.
It's most important to have that. Probably you might be in another country and they can know where you come from, you know. It will be easier for you to reach home, you know. So it's most important. As a matter of fact, to have your transactions done, it's one of the most important things to have. Well, I don't mind. It's something I want done. So I skip my whole schedule today just to have that done today. So I don't.
Peter explained that the department has had to make sure that protocols are adhered to as they have seen a huge influx of people during the last few days. She says there are also some challenges that the department has been met with as they try to administer the IDs with quick efficiency.
So we've actually improved the process. Now we have them lining up. We've tried to ask them to maintain the 6 feet distance, ensure that they have their mask on. They're required to sanitize upon entry. And we only allow a certain number of fishers in the lobby at any one point in time, so no more than 3 fishers in the lobby at any one time. It's a lot of people coming in on the day, so we're trying to manage that as well, and people are very anxious on lines. One of the things that we've been noticing is that we have quite a few fishers coming in without valid form of identification. So either their national ID has expired for years. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing, and they would need to have a valid form of national identification before they can be issued with a fisher ID card.
Fishermen, after they meet all eligibility requirements, will be given a one-time $500 grant. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
Small and micro businesses in St. Lucia will now be better able to recover, rebuild and adapt as they face the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is being made possible by the newly upgraded Climate Adaptation Financing Facility. The facility's business recovery component was launched on Friday.
The COVID-19 CAF Business Recovery Program provides blended loan grant support to medium, micro and small enterprises through the St. Lucia Development Bank. The program will focus on business continuity and the recovery from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as climate resilience. Managing Director of the St. Lucia Development Bank, Vincent Boland, says the grant component is to incentivize persons to achieve climate-smart technology, as well as concessionary loans for liquidity support to recover and build resilience. He says the intention is to assist those who have been impacted by COVID-19.
The development banks don't have resources to make up for lost revenue for everyone. But this particular program is to provide a level of support for persons who have been impacted. It will focus on self-employed persons who are registered. Part of the criteria is that you must be registered with an association or an organization for us to be able to track your progress. And the intention is for us to identify that you have at least been impacted by a 30% reduction in your overall turnover in your business.
The grant support is meant to be used for business expenditure when no other government support has been provided or is available. Concessionary rates will apply and businesses will be able to fund up to 90% of their projects. The maximum term will be for 10 years, and businesses will also have a 6-month grace period for repayment. Executive Director of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Brian Louisi, says the project is extremely welcomed.
Our small business sector has been more severely affected by COVID-19 than their larger counterparts for a number of reasons. The Chamber's COVID-19 Impact Survey Take 2 points this out very clearly, with the small and medium businesses experiencing greater loss of sales and revenue than larger businesses, while, interestingly enough, doing equally well in terms of retaining staff and maintaining salary levels. The MSME sector is extremely, extremely important to our economy and the livelihoods of the people in St. Lucia.
The program leader for sustainable development at the World Bank says the survival of small businesses in St. Lucia is critical for the country's economic recovery in relation to COVID-19.
It is clearly stated in the government's COVID-19 Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan. And we believe that the new CAF Business Recovery Program will make a major contribution to the goal articulated in the plan. We encourage small businesses throughout St. Lucia to contact the SLDB to see whether this new program can make a difference to them.
The Climate Adaptation Financing Facility's business recovery component rolled out on Friday. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Stay with us, there's more news after the break.